Okay, video 1.3, student notes, writing inequalities. This is the video for Tuesday, August 30th. We are doing inequalities, same thing we were doing before with expressions and equations, except they're not going to be equations, they're going to be inequalities. So first thing I want you to do at the top of your paper is do your reminders. I'm going to get my ink pen going. I think today will be green. All right, so first thing you need to do is remember that less than looks like that, less than or equal to, greater than, greater than or equal to. And when you see things like in our next one, first one, we're going to have at most. At most means that it can be anything up to that, but it can't be more than that. So that's our less than or equal to. So this is also at most, which means that greater than or equal to is at least. So don't forget that as we're working along. So when we see at most in problem number 1, that means it's going to be less than or equal to 42.8 feet. Okay, so their garden is adjacent to another garden. So that means that we're going to assume that there is already a fence here. So we're only adding on a fence here, here, and here. We already know the side length of this side is going to be 12.3. So we're looking for these other two sides, which is going to be our x. So we're going to have x plus 12.3 has to be less than or equal to 42.8. And we'll go ahead and put our x's together. We end up with 2x plus 12.3 is less than or equal to 42.8. Remember, as we're going along, to write down questions if you see something you don't understand. Okay. Problem number 2. Chelsea's sister is 25 inches long, okay, and her pajamas fit babies up to. That means Chelsea's baby sister can be inches anywhere up to 32 inches. After that, the pajamas aren't going to fit. So the baby has to be less than or equal to 32 inches. She's 25 inches right now, and she can grow up to X inches until the pajamas don't fit. So my problem doesn't look exactly like our answer choices. So let's look and see. One thing I like to remember is the open side is facing to my 32. So when I flip it around, I need to flip around my inequality so that the 32 has to be bigger than the 25 plus x, because as soon as 25 plus x is bigger than 32, they won't fit. Now my answer looks like D. Okay. Cranberry juice costs at most, there it is again, and at most means it can be less than or it can be equal to, but it's not going to be more than. So the container of cranberry juice is going to cost less than or equal to $4.52. So our large container is our equals 86 cents more than, so that means it goes over here at the end, and 2 times a small container. So if a large container is at most $4.52, then this has to be less than. So I'm going to write my 2s, or x is fine, plus 86 cents has to be less than or equal to $4.52. Number 4 says less than. Less than is not going to be or equal to, so it's going to be less than 42. That means the area can be anything up to 42, but cannot be 42 square meters or more. So the area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. Our area is 42. 42 has to be more than the triangle, so it's going to be 1/2 times 5.3 times x. If you want to multiply 1/2 times 5.3, that's fine. Otherwise, I would say we'll just leave it like this. And tomorrow we'll start solving our inequalities. Hope you're not having the problem I have in keeping up. All right, so we've got a sports car for Mr. Zoom. And we're writing an inequality for the greatest number of miles without going over his budget. So he has $75. He can't spend more than that. So 75 has to be less than or equal to 15 cents times how many miles? So x is miles. 15 cents times each mile has to be less than 75. So I did it backwards. So 75 has to be more than or equal to how much money he spent. He can spend less than that, but he can't go over. So it's going to be greater than. So 75 has to be more or equal to how much he actually spends. Okay, we're talking about averaging. You remember to average, you add up all the numbers and divide by how many there are. She needs to find out how much she can play on the 5th day without going over 30 minutes. So we're going to add up the numbers that we already have, plus one more, that'll be our x, and we're going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 25 plus 32 plus 28 plus 33 plus x. We divide that whole thing by 5 to average, and we want that to be less than or equal to 30-minute average. If it's more than that, then she's going to get in trouble. Okay, so the average normal body temperature is given in degrees Fahrenheit, and we want to know what happens when you have a fever. So that means that the temperature is going to be greater than 98.6. So we want 98.6 to be smaller than, and not equal to, because then it's not going to be a fever. So we want 98.6 to be smaller than whatever the temperature is plus 32. So we want 98.6 to be smaller or less than whatever degrees Celsius we find for a fever. Okay, isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. The perimeter is at most, which means it can be less than 12 or equal to 12, but it can't be 12. I mean, it can't be more than 12. So the two sides are 5 inches, and we have the side we don't know. So we're going to add up 5 plus 5 plus x, or 10 plus x has to be less than or equal to 12. Number 9 is our last one. Okay, so we have a base salary at 8% of sales, so we'll call that X. We'll change our percent to a decimal, which means it's 0.08. And we want the sales to be greater than 65,000. So whatever he makes, whatever this salesperson makes, has to be 35,000 plus the percent to be greater than 65,000. So we have 35,000 plus 0.08x, where x is how much they sell. Okay, that's the end of this video, and we will talk some about how you know which way the inequality sign goes, because I get messed up too.